Hi. So in the final episode of Mental Health in Sport, we have with us Mr. Ajay, a tennis parent at PBI. Hello.
Hey, Santi.
Yeah. So we are going to be talking about mental health. From your perspective as a parent. I've seen Ria play here for the past 3 years. So over the last 2 or 3 years, from your angle, right? How has mental health really changed in the way players are talking about it? They're expressing, in India and broadly.
Very valid point. Actually, good that players are coming out in the open talking about mental health, not only in tennis but otherwise as well, because it's a very unsaid but very important aspect of any athlete who is pursuing serious sports.
Yeah.
And good. It's a right thing that people are coming forward and not having a stigma about mental health, so that younger aspiring athletes like Ria can benefit from what academies like CSE can bring forth. In terms of helping these athletes in coping with the pressures of sports.
Sure.
Thus, in addition to the physical well-being,
Yeah.
focus is also given to the mental well-being of the kid and the athlete as such.
Definitely. And along the same lines, we have also seen tennis players like Naomi Osaka, who recently withdrew from the French Open, citing mental health concerns, which were very valid, and she made that decision, in that time. So recently, Naomi Osaka withdrew from the French Open, citing mental health concerns, which were very valid, and she made that decision for herself. So from your view again, would there be any particular aspects to keep in mind for academies and sport organizations, which they are executing on the ground, so that the mental health of these tennis players, athletes at large, is being taken care of?
Yeah, of course. I would first say it was very brave of Naomi to
Yes.
come out in open in such a big event,
Yeah.
and it really created some ripples. So, in my opinion, I would rather classify an athlete's journey in three parts.
Mhm.
Like, if you see, there is a very initial part of the journey where a kid chooses a sport,
Yeah.
be it for serious pursuance or for recreational purposes. And there's a mid phase when the kid is actually transforming from just being a beginner
Yeah.
to starting to compete
Yes.
in the sports. And that journey is actually taking the kid into a part of choosing the sport as a profession.
True.
And then, of course, the advanced players who have their own expectations and responsibilities of being a professional.
Yeah.
So Naomi would actually fall in the advanced players category. Where academies can make a huge impact is in the first two phases.
Mhm.
That is where a kid goes through the transformation.
Yes.
Like a lot of sacrifice goes into becoming an athlete and an elite athlete. There's a lot of sacrifices in terms of what the kid has to forego, compromise in terms of studies, in terms of recreation, and pursue one sport or
Yes.
multiple sports, but excelling in one. Thus, spending a lot of time and focusing on one and only one thing. That would take a toll on the kids,
Yes.
especially kids who are transforming into in the adolescence phase
Yeah.
in this digital era of social media. So they get a lot of peer pressure in terms of what they are missing out, the sense of missing out, the
Yes.
sense of sacrifice, etc. Those take a toll, and then in addition to that, the pressures of performance,
Absolutely.
right? The need to win, the need to bring out the results.
Yes.
Probably these are something which the kid might not be outspoken about
Yeah.
to his or her parents, but definitely it would be playing a big part in how psychologically it might be affecting. Not everybody can take it in a positive sense. Probably psychologically or mentally,
Yeah.
the kid might be wearing down, and
Yes.
that might see a negative impact when the kid turns into that stage where he or she is turning professional, maybe dropping out at a very early stage.
Yes.
So yeah, what Naomi Osaka has done and what opens up doors is for academies to think seriously about mental health as an integral part of training.
Yes. Absolutely, that's an important point you've raised here, that mental health be included in the overall development of players, right from the young age of around 10, 11, like you said, leading up to the elite level.
Yes.
But a lot of the changes and actions that we can implement in academies can often start from a grassroots level, whereby players also understand that this is a part of of my development and of my tennis journey as such, definitely. So, from your experience again, what are a few challenges that tennis players have faced when it comes to training and when they go to competitions, within the city and beyond in the country?
Well, it's a very fine line. Be training versus competing.
Yeah.
The athlete is carefree or while training, but when it comes to competing, there's a lot of pressure which builds up. Pressure is not because the athlete is not capable, but there are a lot of expectations from within, from the athlete on himself, but also the social kind of environment which the kid is brought up in countries like India especially, where like pursuing something in sport is very difficult because the social insecurities and other things. So, and there is a lot of pressure on the kid's mind. Okay, if I don't win, or I might be losing out on something. I'm spending so much time. It's time. I have to win. I have to be number one. Right? So, a very good athlete who's in the academy probably might not bring in the results when he or she goes out for competitions. That's because I think the sense of reassurance is not there. So it's not carefree.
Yes.
So I believe that comes from a very young age where the kid, in fact, there is a lot of social thing into it when it comes to countries like India, where there's a lot of insecurities. Like to pursue a career in sport is not a simple thing because kid has to forego education, or at least not be elite in education. The kid can't be good in everything, right? A lot of time spent in excelling in sport, but there is no guarantee that that would culminate in a career, right? So absolutely. There is a lot of pressure from the family and also self-doubt about what will happen if I don't excel in this sport.
True.
When the doubt is there, that is where it creates a lot of mental pressure to perform. So if a kid or an athlete is going there having just playing without any apprehension, I believe the results would be much better rather than having an expectation to win. If you're playing to win, you are putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. So that I have seen in my daughter as well. In fact, we also as parents play a very important role. Initially we had a lot of expectations when our kids started. When she started competing in in-house competitions, so there were a lot of expectations. You have to win, or you're practicing so much. But we learned the hard way. But I also would thank academies like PBI. Way back in 2019, they had a parent orientation program where we were told as parents what are the do's and don'ts, which would help the athlete to perform better and to trust in the process of making an athlete, which might be a long-term process.
Absolutely.
And when that pressure of performance is taken out from an athlete, the athlete would really perform better. I've seen that transformation in the way my daughter approaches any match without the pressure of winning. And I think once we inculcate that as a standard practice, and also in addition, you're talking about mental health and helping the students. I think it has to be the whole support system should go through this the journey, or at least a couple of sessions in terms of identifying and nurturing the whole support system, which means parents, coaches, and the kids together to thread this journey. If someone is serious, I think everybody should be carried along and helped in this aspect, which might bring out a lot many elite athletes than it is doing currently.
Absolutely, that's a very great point that you have added, that mental health is something that we need to introduce not only for players but for all of us, right? Who in a way eventually form the support system of players, like coaches, as you said, parents, strength and conditioning coaches, psychologists, and the whole idea here, as you said, is that when all of us are on the same page, then it's a very clear message to the athlete that that yes, there is sport and there are matches, they are going to be there, but apart from that also they are people, right? At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And when they are going out to play matches also, they learn in a way through different skills and techniques how to manage that pressure. And when we are there and when we are looking at competitions from a particular perspective, like you said, of trusting the process especially, a lot of that pressure and feeling which is there, that in a way gets taken off the backs of these players, definitely. So in relation to that, according to you, as kids today, they are doing the schooling, they're doing like a couple of other activities or hobbies as well, and then they have tennis and other sports also. What would be a few ways you feel that this balance which is there between tennis and say personal life, academics or socially, how can they strike a balance, and what are there any challenges that you feel that players today we are facing?
Yes, so basically, as I said, it's all boils down to the expectations. So if one is expectations, and the other thing is about why would someone choose sports? It would either be for recreational, then the kid is pursuing something else as a career option. But serious sports requires serious planning and also a real sense of assurance. I'm reiterating this point, especially from an Indian parent perspective, because we in India don't have social security. So if the kid is spending a lot of time, which might as well be spent doing more of academics, which this whole, unfortunately, the country is grade based, right? It's a rat race. So if the kid is coming out of the academic rat race and pursuing a sport, what is the guarantee that the kid will succeed professionally in the sport? Today the situation is much better than before. There are many avenues where the time spent is not a time wasted, right? If the kid is assured and the parents are assured that the time spent is actually not wasted, and the kid can go out and express himself or herself and try to be excellent in whatever he or she is pursuing, I believe that would change the whole perspective. And fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have any accreditation for trainings, which is like, for example, if a high performance athlete is spending 5 hours a day in this facility, and if the athlete is spending year 12 till 18 here, that doesn't go academically as something which is accredited.
Yes, it's valued.
Yes, it is not valued. It is not helping the athlete. If the athlete is not going to be turning professional, how is that time spent here going to value the athlete in terms of career or in terms of possibilities of building a career? If that can be something groundbreaking for elite institutions like the CAC. If there could be some formal accreditation being brought into the trainings which are being done here, that would also give a lot of value. Like, for example, somebody does a course somewhere, it might be a 2-day course or 3-day course, but they are certified athletes for that course. Similarly, for a sport which the kid is excelling, so it need not be for everybody, but at least for kids who are really putting in their effort, if that is accredited, it would make a lot of sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, and again, once there is, it's like a carefree athlete. So if there are no pressures.
Yeah.
Of course, the performance is always going to go up.
Yeah.
So that is my take for this topic.
When Ria is participating in tennis and playing different tournaments, do you feel that has a role on how you feel about tennis as a sport, and how you see the sport unfolding in the next couple of years?
Oh yeah, so it, it gives a lot of exciting times as a parent. How my daughter, like as a parent, how the kid is improving over the years, and how the training is actually reflecting in the way the kid is playing. How the mindset of the athlete or my kid before and after the
Yeah.
tournament. So these are very insightful and very nice. So we might only on TV we might see the end part, the professionals who have treaded this journey. But the journey itself is very important.
Yes.
And at every step, as a parent, our involvement is very important. Involvement is not being there, but
Yeah.
how we as parents are supporting the kid,
Yes.
right? How much pressure we are exerting on the
Yeah.
kid. Again, as I said, one of the turning points in my life, it's a very short time that Ria has been playing tennis, but
Yeah.
the parent orientation program which we had a couple of years ago has changed a lot in terms of how I perceive this.
Yes.
It's like it's not an exam.
Yeah.
It's not like you study here, you go write an exam and like you expect 90% every time,
Yes.
right? It's not like that. But how the approach is, how the build up of each point,
Yeah.
whether what the coaches have taught, the kid is able to execute, whether there is any pressure. One of the things I've also done is like to understand, and I always recommend, at least for fellow parents, to indulge in the same sport the kid is doing. I have a very pathetic win record compared to Ria in tennis. I have lost to kids of her age because I might be practicing well, but when it comes to performing in that moment, there are situations where you tend to get stiffened.
Yes.
We see, we might see the same thing in the kid. The kid is performing well in practice.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the game drops to a different level
Yes.
in competitions.
Yeah.
That is true. It happens.
Yes.
I can say it happens because
Yes.
I've experienced it. So it's good to have a different yardstick to measure how the kid is performing.
Absolutely.
And I believe if we give the right support and with a little or no expectation from the kid, but giving a lot of assurance and confidence in
Yeah.
kids, the kids will definitely bring in the results if they are serious enough in pursuing the sport. Ultimately, we should also respect that every individual, be it your kid or be it anybody, it's a human being, and
Yes.
they have their own persona and their own mindset. So we might be there for support, but we should not see our dreams getting fulfilled through them.
Through them.
Their dreams are their dreams.
Yes, and like you mentioned that you also play tennis, and when you competed, you felt those very things. It could be in terms of how to manage pressure, which players will feel, and that has sort of changed your perspective on how you see and how you see other players going through different levels in a match, right? And when you have experienced the sport and when you're playing tennis, is there anything else you feel that your time on the court has helped you in terms of how you can be as a parent, when say your daughter is competing or just going about her training?
Yes, of course. So there are a lot of technical and non-technical aspects to each sport. While technical is important and also is a percentage of what helps the kid on court, but there are a lot of non-technical aspects in terms of the mental strength. Since we are talking about this, we're touching base about this topic. A lot is in the heart,
Yes.
right? how the kid can adapt to the situations which he or she can face in the on the court on any given circumstances, on any given time. How a kid can be doing really well through the match, suddenly the performance can go down. The kid might be doing really bad and fight his or her way out, right? But I think we should give that bandwidth for the kid to experience it for a period of time, identify where the kid is actually lacking and helping it, because those might not really be the technical aspect of the game, but it will be more situational and mental aspect of the game, which is not taught on court. It's you have to simulate such kind of situations on court, while it has to be taught off court as well.
Absolutely. And like you said, that getting, like giving players that freedom to think for themselves, and also to realize that, in their growth as a player, as much as, there will be technical elements involved, in terms of the skill work, these non-technical or more of the mental part which is there, that will also at times have a great influence on, how their level changes during matches.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it is more than we giving feedback. I think it has to be the other way around. We take feedback from the athlete, what they are experiencing, and I believe we have enough and more experts who can study that and help the individual to perform better. So yeah, of course, it's mental.
Definitely. And lastly, whenever you feel any particular thing, right, and the way you perceive the sport, and that keeps on changing, do you feel that has an impact on, how your daughter, looks at the sport and how she approaches, competitions also?
Yeah, I think, see, I have, in fact, I have learned a lot from her in terms of how her thought process is. While, as parents also, we have to empathize on ourselves in terms of the time, money and effort spent in something which we don't know will lead the athlete or my kid to being a professional sports person. But that is not the only angle in which we have to see being a sports parent. The amount of time spent in sports itself is an investment on an individual's persona. In terms of sports teaches kids to come out of any kind of situation, to handle losses, and most importantly, the recent pandemic has taught us all that fitness is the most important wealth one can hold. And as parents, as long as we understand that, we can actually be really a good support system, not only in terms of financially, but also in terms of the strength which is there for the athlete to keep performing better. So the moment we set expectations, that is where pressure builds up, and that can turn into different ways. It could be something in very fortunate circumstances that could turn as a strength, but more often than not, it turns into something which is more of a weakness, inhibiting the kid's performance.
Absolutely. So emotional support is definitely such a crucial role, that parents play. And I think main takeaways from this conversation is, firstly to trust the process, to reassure, the child, the player, that, to apply whatever they have, learned with the coaches. And definitely, what we also feel now is that if there is a possibility, to go and play that same sport, to understand, how the sport functions.
It's not only play, but I think compete. Because most parents would, measure it in terms of success achieved, right?
Yes.
So success in any sport is like how they compete.
Absolutely.
I would rather say that would be a good benchmark.
Definitely, yes. Competing so that, yes, we understand what are the feelings, what are the thought processes, what are we observing within ourselves. And, that in a way just gives us more insight into, guiding our tennis players and athletes, in the best way possible. Thank you so much for your time. It was so great talking to you.
Thanks, Sandhu, and it was a lovely conversation. I think we both have touched topics which, actually reassures me also
Absolutely.
in focusing on some aspects which will help my daughter and also talk to fellow parents about.
Definitely. Thank you. That was the end of our 4-part mental health and sports series. We hope you found something useful in this. And mental health in sport is definitely something we need to be discussing more about for coaches, for players, parents, and everybody involved. And more importantly, we need to be taking active and consistent steps towards looking at the mental health of our athletes. Thank you.